From the Tech in San Jose, welcome to another Tech Closeup. I'm Mark Albertson, and it's time again to let you experience some of the great scientific and technological innovations of the Silicon Valley, and some of the great innovative minds who dream them up. In this month's program, we'll tour the digital home with Patrick Lowe of Netgear and find out what the future holds for a wireless lifestyle. We'll visit a Bay Area company where a CEO and his employees play games for a living. And Christina King shows us how science is becoming wildly popular at several local schools. Well, if you've seen one ad, you've seen them all, right? Well, one Silicon Valley company is challenging that notion with new technology that not only captures your attention, it actually places you in the ad itself. Sounds crazy, huh? Well, that's exactly what the folks at Reactrix are counting on to get you to step in to their ads. From New York to Vegas to the Metreon in San Francisco.
This is the most powerful thing I've seen here.
People are stomping all over commercials and ads, and the advertisers love it. Thanks to Silicon Valley technology that does more than just catch the eye.
We want to create advertising that entices people to come and play. We don't force ourselves on people. We wait for people to discover us and then have a fun and enjoyable experience.
Matthew Bell, chief scientist at Redwood City's Reactrix, he's like a kid in a candy store.
I believe very strongly in the power of play.
That power combines overhead projectors, infrared sensors, and interactive video games. The result, when sensors detect any body motion, you literally make the floor come to life. Wait a minute. You mean you can actually play a game with this?
Exactly. What's wonderful about this is it works just like the real world. You know, if you walked up and saw a grassy field with a soccer ball on it, you would know what to do. You would try to kick the soccer ball into the goal. You see, I'm cheating. I'm using my hands, but there's no referee to give me a yellow card for that. You're goaltending rather well. Ooh!
For advertisers, the fun grabs buyers' attention. Playing on an ad helps them remember the ad.
We see Reactrix as the ultimate form of permission-based marketing, because every time somebody jumps onto one of our projections, they're opting into the experience.
The fun and games takes innovative computer science. Nobody's put video games on the floor before.
This is definitely pioneering work. There's no question about it.
With Chuck Clinton, Reactrix gets a seasoned game developer and a trained neuroscientist. He tries to kick the bugs out of future floor games.
We're still figuring out what constitutes a great game in this format. Whereas when you're dealing with a PC game, we know pretty much what works and what doesn't work. So a lot of this is kind of almost in the area of research.
The research tests new advances with infrared projection and challenges designers to dream up bigger and better ideas. Now, it may sound like hard work, but around Reactrix, hard work looks more like Toyland.
And that's why we encourage this environment, is to just think new thoughts, come up with new ideas.
You have to be like a little kid, aren't you?
You do, and we actually turn fully grown adults into little kids with this display.
But the technology's so new, many advertisers want to wait and see before they buy in. Yet early studies find potential. Compared to billboard advertising, shoppers who walk into Reactrix ads are at least 30% more likely to remember the sales pitch.
And it stands to reason. When people are that engaged, that immersed into an experience, and you give them a sense of control over it, it enhances relevancy, personalization, and ultimate delivery of message from an advertising perspective.
Oh, 3 against 1, I like it.
Even without the ads, Reactrix floor games help the staff relieve stress, even the CEO.
It's fun to just be able to grab a few people from around the office and play a game of soccer or interact in a way that I in my earlier days never would have dreamed possible.
Oh, nice one again! Reactrix is not alone. Some major firms like IBM also want to develop and market interactive ads, but Reactrix may have the inside track. No question, they've already got the floor. You know, we're all getting used to walking into a restaurant or a cafe, powering up the laptop on a Wi-Fi connection. Well, what if you could run every electronic device like a TV, your music, radio, video games, just about everything on one wireless router in your house? Well, that technology is not as far away as you think, and that's why recently we went with Patrick Lowe of Netgear on a tour of his version of the digital home. Back in the early 60s, a little boy growing up in mainland China had a dream. He survived communist repression, won an American engineering scholarship, and brought his dream to the other side of the world. Today, as CEO of Santa Clara's Netgear, Patrick Lowe showcases his dreams come true in a high-tech model home. Come on in for a peek. Well, I should say thank you for welcoming us into your home. Is this sort of like the average American home from your perspective? Or?
Well, I would have to say that the setup is an average American home. However, the technology installed in this particular space is a little bit ahead of the times. Now, mind you though, all these technologies are currently available. It's just not readily installed in most American homes, that we expect that over the course of the next 2-3 years, all these things that we're going to see will be in most American homes. In just 9 years, Netgear has grown to employ nearly 300 people worldwide, with revenues last year of over $380 million. What's this? No, this is just a show of the cards, that we use to connect the game, the gamers' machines into the internet. I mean, most of the teenagers today, they buy these souped up, gaming machines with a lot of graphics, a lot of things, and they want the maximum speed to connect to the internet, and this card will give them the maximum speed to connect to the internet. So we just showcase it over here.
Netgear is clearly targeting a growing need for wireless support in the home, with an eye towards the younger generation of consumer-savvy kids. There are lots of online games now that allow people to compete with each other.
Right.
What is new significant then about the advances that you're perceiving here?
Well, basically, the online games that we talked about mostly are played off of a PC. What PlayStation and Xbox are moving on to is to do it for the console games. Now, PCs are designed to connect to the internet very easily, but not traditionally, the consoles. The consoles are traditionally designed to tie into a single, TV, and then you play against the TV, right? Yeah. So what we produce over here, as you could see, are two devices for you to connect the PlayStation or the Xbox to the internet. One is what you could see over here, this little thing with an antenna. It's over wireless means to connect it to your cable or DSL modem. So that's one way of doing it.
That's a very small modem.
It's a very small one, and certainly that, actually a lot of those devices are produced also by our competitors. All right. Now, the other unique thing that we produce, because a lot of times people want to shoot, they want it to be real fast, right? Yeah. So the last thing you want is, what if there is a dog going by, or your mom is talking on the cordless phones that interfere with the wireless transmission. All of a sudden your shooting becomes slow and you got shot. People hate that, right?
Last thing you want, yeah.
Right. So what's the only other means of ensuring that you have speed without the interference of the airwaves? You could either string a thick cable like this one, from the console all the way to the cable modem, which is would be very unsightly, and your mom and dad is going to be really happy about it, right? So now we come up with a very unique solution, which is you can look at this big converter here. We call it the wall plug converter, which basically lets you to plug into any power outlet. And then it will transmit that internet signal over the electrical cabling in your house all the way to your cable modem.
Using your wires in the wall?
Yes, using your wires in the wall.
Patrick's professional career has been dedicated to a simple concept: making computer networking easy and affordable for any family and small business throughout the world.
The storage central, as what it means, is the central storage of the house. Now, think about this. You have 2, 3 PCs in the house. What's the most popular application today? First and foremost is to share the internet. You pay $29.95 a month to access to the DSL or cable modem. All right, but you want to be able to use that cable or DSL modem simultaneously across multiple PCs. So that's the first application. So every PC will be able to access the internet at the same time without having to pay 2 times $29.95 or 3 times $29.95. That's the most popular application. That's what this, RangeMax wireless router does best. On the other hand, the second application that we believe and we've seen a lot of people interested in doing is actually swapping files among the PCs. All right. For example, I bought some CDs, I ripped them, as MP3 files onto my PC. There is no reason why my son, who wants to hear the same song, needs to rip it one more time. So what he wants to do is actually go access my PC, get the files over. All right, so to copy the file over.
So you've got an intranet in the house then?
Right. I mean, most people, once you have this wireless router, then you actually basically have an intranet inside the house.
Netgear has been focused on how to centralize all of the various computer devices that have rapidly become a part of the standard American home. So you can transfer everything from your hard drive onto this one storage?
Right, exactly. You just store everything in there. It's a community disk drive.
Despite his company's success in bringing new wireless applications to the home, we just had to ask Patrick about the continued need for those infernal wires. I'll tell you, I have one question though over
Sure.
here. Is okay. When do we get rid of this? All right? If you want to talk about Netgear, when do we get rid of that? All right?
Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, that's what we're working very hard to do. Now, there is one wire so far that you must have, which is coming into the DSL modem or cable modem, and then you can get rid of that, right? From the DSL cable modem to everything else, we're working on making it all that wireless.
All right, let's stop for just a moment. We'll be back more with Patrick Lowe and Netgear in just a moment.
Oops, you're not supposed to see this yet. It's inside the box. It's a surprise, and it's helping kids learn science all over the country, and they love it. I'm Christina King. Coming up later, we'll talk about what's inside the box.
What are those?
Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm posting them online this time.
Just log on or email us and get what you need. firstgov.gov.
The time is coming. There's no escape from the day you retire. And will you be ready financially? Choose to save.
The digital home of tomorrow also features new technology for music lovers, where today's average boombox becomes more than just a place for AM radio. I'm really fascinated by here in the kitchen. What is this?
Well, this one is a normal boombox, as you could see. What we added onto it is what we call a music player, digital music player, which basically, in a simple way, is a Wi-Fi enabler of your boombox. So what it is, now your boombox connecting to this digital music player is now wirelessly connected to the internet. So this boombox not only could listen to radio that is broadcast in the air, it could also listen to radio from the internet. There are thousands of radio stations on the internet, and then you could listen to. And also, because, as I just mentioned, right, there are tens of thousands of songs stored on that storage central, they can play it too.
With the explosion in popularity of DVDs in the home, it's no surprise that Netgear is building products that will meet the expectations of living room viewers around the world.
What we're watching right now is a video, but it's not from a tape. It's not from a DVD. It's actually from, again, from the central storage. I mean, the storage central.
From the terabyte storage.
That's exactly right. So movies, downloaded from the internet and put in there, or you made it at home, you put it there, and through this Wi-Fi enabler, we call it a digital video player, that's connected to your TV. Now your TV is Wi-Fi internet enabled.
Things are going the way Patrick Lowe dreamed as a child, growing up in mainland China. As he watches his dreams come true, he still remembers, though, where and how those dreams began.
You've come a long way to get here, but where you came from is so far from all of this. Tell me about that.
Well, actually, it's not that far. You know, I was educated as an engineer, electrical engineer, when I was in college. I have always been fascinated by all these electronic things. As a matter of fact, you know, my undergraduate graduation thesis was in automated cars. That is, you know, driverless.
You always like gadgets.
Yeah, I always like gadgets, right, exactly. So, you know, that has always been my dream, you know, on how to produce more gadgets, because it's fascinating. And then, of course, throughout my career, early career as an engineer, both on the hardware side and on the software side, you know, there are so many new technologies that kind of, you know, make me think, hey, you know, technology really changes the life of many people. I mean, we've seen how people's lives got changed by personal computers or Macintosh. And then we've seen how lives of many people got changed by cell phones. So when internet came around, it was a huge thing. You know, for me, I say this is the next wave. This is the third wave of technological change that I could see in my life. I mean, first PC, then cell phone, and now the internet. So that's how I started, you know, to band together with my good pal Mark Merrill, who's also the co-founder of Netgear, to, hey, let's work together to how to make people's lives even better by connecting them to the internet. I mean, that's how we started.
In 1996, Patrick looked at the impact of personal computers and cell phones on day-to-day tasks, and then asked a simple question: how can we improve people's lives by helping them connect with each other?
With the establishment of Netgear, we brought a new business model into Silicon Valley. All right, the old business model in Silicon Valley is everything invented in-house, always. Always built a huge R&D infrastructure in-house. Always invent intellectual property and protect it, you know, as much as you can, so that you will be able to enjoy the head start over your competitors. So that's one model of doing it. We changed the model quite a bit by saying that, hey, you know what? You don't have to invent everything in here. All right, what you could do is you invent the idea, and then you use a lot of partners to invent the things together with you. And the beauty of that is, instead of building a huge R&D infrastructure, which is a lot of times is wasteful, cumbersome, and slow moving, now you are working with a whole bunch of partners, and each one of them is small, nimble, smart, and talented. So as a totality, we can move very, very fast. And with that, I mean, even though we only have about, you know, 50 engineers, we are pushing out about 13 to 15 new products every quarter. We're introducing about 3-4 breakthrough new technologies every year. And that can only be done with this, you know, changed business model. And I believe that a lot of our, you know, our friends, you know, competitors in Silicon Valley is starting to catch on. And there's a great model, because now we can actually utilize a lot of talents, not only in the United States, but talents around the world, which is going to benefit everybody.
The company's symbol is known within the firm as the Netgear guy, but there was something about that artwork that looked strangely familiar.
That's Mark Merrill, our co-founder. He looks exactly like this. That's right.
So what was the inspiration for making him?
Okay, the thing is, when we started the company, we tried to come up with a name.
Yeah.
And we pay umpty amount of money for some name specialist, brand, you know, company, to try to come up with a name. So they went to the internet. I mean, they go all around the place and spend tens of thousands of dollars, search for hundreds of names, and none of them would like it.
Oh, really?
None of them, all right? So Mark one day drove down 101 and then saw a billboard, all right, and advertising some sneakers. And then he came and said, I got a name for us. And then he named the company Netgear. I say, that's a great, fantastic name. So that's how we started with the Netgear name. And then because gear is this, and Mark is this, so we basically, you know,
got my name, you know.
So
my glasses too.
Right. So in the early days, we say, hey, Mark, in tribute to you, we'll put this figure, which is exemplifying, personifying you, you know, the major, you know, brainchild of the technology behind it, on every single box. So over the years, this originally occupies the whole front page has shrunk into a little circle, but
sure.
he's still there.
He's still there.
He's still there. Yeah,
Well,
right.
This has been an extraordinary opportunity
Thank
here
you.
at Netgear. I've enjoyed meeting you.
Thank you for coming
And
by.
Our viewers here at Tech Closeup already really gotten a really nice view of what the future is going to be like in their home.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you very much.
Welcome back. Anytime.
Thank you.
You know, sometimes they call it the best little group you've never heard of. But despite its low profile, a small nonprofit's having a pretty big impact on teaching science to some Bay Area elementary school kids. It's another example of how some Silicon Valley groups are coming together for a really good cause. Here's Christina King.
What I would like for you to do today when you're working with your group.
When science class gets underway, these 4th and 5th graders get busy.
We got a cup down here, and you pour the mixture here, hoping that the bigger solids would stay on top, so we'd get the smaller ones here. And so once the bigger solid's on top, we'd probably have the gravel, because that seems the biggest.
They're learning about mixtures as they siphon gravel and try to separate powder from salt.
We poured it in the mixture of the salt and the powder and the gravel, and we poured it, and we were hoping that the gravel would stay, because one piece of gravel is bigger than the filter, so the gravel stayed.
It's the kind of rocky lesson many teachers wouldn't touch. After all, a tub full of tools like this costs money, which is in short supply in school districts across California. But here at Van Meter Elementary in Los Gatos, students are getting their hands dirty thanks to the University of California's Lawrence Livermore Hall of Science. That's where scientists help create a nonprofit that puts science knowledge at kids' fingertips.
We developed this program originally to serve the needs of students with disabilities, visual impairments, physical disabilities, and learning disabilities. And over the years, we found that the tools and strategies developed for special needs work well for all students, and it really helps all teachers and all students to participate in science.
What they created is all in the box. Science materials in individual kits for all kinds of hands-on experiments.
The kits provide all of the materials in one location so the teachers don't have to go out and pick everything out, buy all of the things, so it's much easier for teachers to manage.
Making it easier for kids to learn, or so they say.
I think it's a lot better than just reading one thing out of a book.
How do you know what to do? I mean,
well, we just kind of use our minds and be creative. Use your imagination. Yeah, and we think about like what may happen. We think ahead and.
Thinking ahead to the future is what the volunteer-run nonprofit program is doing with these kids. The Coalition for Excellence in Science Education, or CESE, assembles hundreds of these kits each year.
We support the science materials for almost 18,000 students in 5 districts and about 800 teachers. So when you put that together, and we do this in a volunteer organization, totally volunteer, it means that the dollars go directly to putting the hands-on science in the hands of the teachers and the students.
Take a minute to look that over.
Students at Blossom Hill Elementary in Los Gatos are using one kit to study a worm's stages of development. A high-tech hookup allows them to easily see a microscopic image of their specimens on a computer screen. Whether measuring growth or grains, hands-on learning doesn't come cheap. Each kit costs anywhere from $500 to $700.
It is an investment, and the state chose not to allow us to use textbooks funds to purchase these kits. So our parent community came to our aid, and the Los Gatos Education Foundation raised money from the parents and the community.
Take the sticks with the little black bottoms, stick them in the sides here.
And while it may look fun for students, taking on a task like this isn't always easy for teachers.
The quality of our science program has so much improved in the last few years, not just because of the hands-on science, but also because of the training that we've been able to provide teachers.
The kits come with instructions on teaching an inquiry-based curriculum, allowing the children to solve problems themselves through a series of questions from the teacher.
It's highly motivating for the students. They really love getting in there, experimenting with things, seeing it firsthand, trying things out.
We're trying to...
These kids now have the benefit of hands-on experience with real science. Isn't that cool? And so what happens to the kits? Once the learning is over, they're sent back to the CESC program. They're all cleaned up, and they're ready for next year's batch of young learners.
Well, what would Tech Closeup and the Silicon Valley be without the internet? Well, that's why Tony here from the Tech has decided that we've got to have an internet here at the Tech, right?
Absolutely.
And this is quite an internet. Now, this is where we're going to get engaging each other. Is that
exactly? We're in an exhibit called the Virtual World, and there are 8 computer stations here, and we're all networked together on our own internet, not part of the global internet, but just these 8 computers together. And this exhibit is all about creating avatars or virtual versions of you, and exploring this virtual land, and just basically expressing yourself on the internet.
So now I'm this guy here in a looks
Phoenix
like a
Ride.
T-shirt. And then who are you?
I am Dragon Gregarian, but I can.
Did you choose that name, or they chose it for you?
That name got chosen for me, but I can do whatever I want to my character.
Here. You could get hooked on this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's the idea of just expressing
well,
yourself.
I mean, what's the purpose of the rest of the museum? People get hooked on it; they're not going to see anything else.
We actually have a queue here. We limit people's time on this exhibit.
But this is really for kids, though, isn't it?
Not necessarily. There's a component here for parents also. I think a lot of parents are new to the internet, so this is a chance to sort of understand how it works and sort of dabble at it in a really sort of simple version, and it's obviously really engaging.
Are there any surprises about, you've got this 3D virtual world, which is surprisingly more real life than it was 10 years ago with all the computer graphics back then.
5 years ago.
Is there a lot of surprises for people when they see this?
I think so. I think it's exciting for people to see, A, how far it's come, B, thinking about how you can sort of take a stance and sort of take the internet to the next level yourself. If it's evolving that quickly over that few years, how can I be a part of this in the near future? And then I think for parents, there's also a piece of this where you can sort of get a sense for how your kids interact online. Kids are in chat rooms and doing all these sort of connecting with other people through the internet. It's good to see how your kids use it.
Well, what would we do without the tech in order to learn about the internet? What would we do without Tony Santos? Thanks, Tony, for joining us on Tech Closeup again.
Absolutely.
Tech Closeup's viewership continues to grow, and we want to welcome our newest edition, Comcast 26 in Pleasanton and Livermore. We now reach almost all of the East Bay. In fact, with all of our channels, Tech Closeup covers almost all the Bay Area. Now, if you want to confirm which channel we're covered on or what the broadcast times you can watch us on, you can find it on our website, techcloseup.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Levinson. And remember, if you want to stay in touch with the technologies that drive this great Silicon Valley, well, then join us next time for another edition of Tech Closeup.